the first thing I'm going to do today is cut and remove the overhang of the plywood bulkhead up here. So I'm just started cutting that now, and then I can mark the timber behind and remove it all so I can trim it up, sand everything and refit it. Welcome back to another episode of Fix It or Sink It. It's about 5 minutes to 5. I've finished work and I'm over here at the boat to get a real good bit of progress done on the bulkheads. I'm hoping in today's episode we can completely wrap up the bulkheads, get those finished and get the pole out, and we can move on to some other things on the boat. The bulkhead work is dragging on a little bit. It's taking quite a long time to get everything absolutely perfect. So apologies if it's a little bit boring at the moment, but I'm very close and I'm really hoping these are going to be finished now. So the first thing I need to do is trim up these bulkheads. So I'm going to put some footage in now while I headed over to my dad's workshop. We're using the bandsaw once again to cut just the edge that I've marked up on the bulkhead reinforcement that's on the forward side, so that's in the forward cabin there. So thank you very much, Dad, for the use of your workshop and your skills again. I am really grateful. Thank you so much. So today's job is going to be the sanding, and I've got these really great sanding attachments from my dad. He's lent me these. These are going to help me really well sanding up the radiuses and the flats and getting a nice finish. I've also got the DA sander, and I've bought a load of 120 grit sandpaper off the internet so I can give these a good sand down. All I want to achieve is that all the surfaces are flat. I've seen a few of you in the comments have said, am I going to be sanding out the bumps? Yes, I am. I'm going to get them as smooth as possible. I want to put a radius on all of the sharp edges and just generally make them as nice as I can. And then they can be fitted. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I'm going to try not to go too over the top because I know it's just a bulkhead support, and once it's in, a little bit of filler if required, and then they're going to be painted and you won't see anything really. But I do want to try and get them as nice as I can. Some of you have said as well, am I bonding the bulkhead supports to the bulkhead as well as mechanically fixing? It's something that I've been throwing around in my head. Should I, shouldn't I? Theoretically, mechanically fixed, they are bolted up, they're in place, they're not going to move. However, over time with vibration, things can move, wood can shrink and expand. We all know on a boat, the environment is totally different to anywhere else and things can move. So it's a very, very good question. I think yes is the answer. I am going to bond them. There was an argument whether I should use Sikaflex. Some of you in the comments have said, why don't I use a thickened epoxy paste, spread it onto the bulkhead supports, and then as I bolt it all up, it all squidges out and it's going nowhere. It's basically then as one with the bulkhead. I might go down that route. I've got loads of epoxy and I've got loads of polyester resin that I've already bought for the bilges and the bilge keels. So I've got all the kit, I've got filler powders, I've got chopped strand, and I've got everything that I need to be able to do that. So that may well be the way that I go. Right, so that's enough of me talking. You're not here to listen to me babble on. Let's get these sanded and get them in. Some of you have said to me in the comments, Louis, you should be wearing a mask. Iroko is carcinogenic, you shouldn't be breathing in the dust, and I do fully take that on board. Cutting with the bandsaw didn't make that much dust, so we didn't worry too much, but obviously today I'm sanding, so I've broken out the mask and I'm going to be wearing this. Sanding is always horrible anyway. It's even worse in the confined space. But I've given that just a really quick sand. It doesn't need to be anything perfect, just getting anything loose off that might be on there that will stop the bonding from happening. So I've taken it off. Quite a bit of the varnish did come off. It was all flaking off, so it's a good thing anyway. Later on in these videos, you'll actually see I'm going to paint all of these bulkheads. Everything's going to be painted, so it's going to brighten up the interior. So not too worried. I've just sanded back down to here, just roughly. We're good to go. Right. Next step is, well, I think they can go in. So I have decided to bond in the bulkhead supports. I'm not going to go overkill, but I'm going to mix up a very small amount of epoxy resin and some filler additive into this pot and create a nice sort of creamy, thick texture. I'm not going to spread over the entire bulkhead support because what I don't want is for the epoxy mix to squidge into the holes and block everything up should I ever want to remove the bolts in the future. So I'm going to mix up a small amount, put some dabs around the supports and then put them up, and it will spread out behind as it all bolts together. This is a 5:1 mix ratio, especially at this temperature. So I've got one of these mixing cups here, and on the front of it is a little diagram that shows your mix ratios. So I'm choosing the 5:1. You've got 4:1, you've got 3:1, but it's the 5:1 that I'm looking at today. It's just on the borderline of temperature, minimum temperature to use epoxy. It's going to be fine for doing this bulkhead. I wouldn't want it to be this cold when I'm doing the bilge keels. I need to give that a stir, mix it all up, and then put my filler powder in, which is going to turn it into a nice thick consistency so we can spread it onto the bulkhead supports. Now you really don't want to be breathing this in, and I just realized I hadn't put my mask on. So I've just popped a mask on to mix this. It goes quite a long way, so I would suggest if you're doing this, do it a little bit at a time. That's exactly what I'm doing, and you can control then the thickness of the final outcome. A little bit thicker than honey. It's about where I'm looking for. So all I want to do is put a little dab like that. I don't want any more of that than that, because this is going to spread as the bolts do up, and I don't want any of this around my bolt holes. So that's all I want to achieve. Right, let's put that up. Oh, look at that. There we go. There we go. The bulkhead support is finally fitted, and we had some resin squishing out. You can see it's coming down the bulkhead here, and we've got some coming out here. So I should clean all this up now. Yeah, so it's working. It's squishing out some here, which is what we want to see. This looks really good. When it's all dry, I'm going to take the sander over this and get it perfectly smooth, I'll use the round sanders here that I used when I sanded all these pieces. And the same over here. Just get rid of these last little lips and make that nice and smooth. I'm really pleased with that finish. Yes, I'm really happy with that outcome. It's worked very, very well. So I was just kneeling here doing that last little bit of recording, showing you my lovely bulkhead support, and my knee went through the floorboard, so I've just made myself some more work. It's completely collapsed. It's got some water in there I need to get out. So these are obviously a little bit rotten. So that's another job to the list. New floorboards. I've got some of these lovely dome nuts to put onto the threads just to finish it off. What do you think? That looks quite smart. I want to leave the nylocks there because they're nice and secure. Plus the thread is quite long on the bolts. Well, you've all been with me the whole journey, so I think it's only fair that you see the post coming out for the final time. Hopefully this won't fall on my head. Look at that, not a creak, nothing at all. That is brilliant, and there was some load on that. Fantastic, no more post. I can now clear everything up in the boat and get myself a bit tidier. And once the epoxy has gone off, I can sand this for a final time, and it's done. We have a bulkhead support. Thanks for sticking with me. I know that got a little bit boring towards the end, but that's a really good job, really well done. I'm so happy. I'm happy with the outcome, and I'm really happy that it's behind me now, so we can move on. Next week, we can do something completely different and get on with some other jobs that we desperately need to get done. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up, pop your comments down below. I love hearing from you all, and I will try and reply to every single comment. All your suggestions, all your ideas, and if you just want to say hi, pop it down below. It's great to hear from you all. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next one. I've got the DA sander and some sanding discs. I bought a load of sanding discs off the internet. So all sorts of different grades, 120, 120 and 120. That's not all sorts of different grades really, is it? That's just 120. I thought I'd got loads of different grades. I've got some resin down in that hole, which I didn't want to happen. So I'm going to sacrifice a bolt. I had to buy them in a pack of 20 odd anyway. I'm just going to poke that through. I'm going to wipe with something, with tissue. I'm so glad my boat's in the workshop because thick rain.